with some red letters. We're going to go walk through all of that. And so we'll start with the first item on the scope of work, number 1, and then that is to add a left turn lane onto Tight Squeeze Road. Coming out of Tight Squeeze Road, heading north on 29. Now, we're proposing to add this lane by widening to the south towards the Exxon. This will, by adding this additional left turn lane, we will add 230 feet of dual storage, thus reducing the time that you are sitting at a traffic light and the queues that we're building up before. Now, to do that, we're going to have to, if you look at the text box to the left of Tight Squeeze Road, can you not hear me?
There you go. Get in it now. Okay. There we go. Now start over. No, I'm just kidding.
I can if you, I apologize. So if you look at the text box at the intersection on the left of Tight Squeeze, you see a proposed island. So if you see that call out. So in order to add that additional left turn lane, we're going to have to move the existing island back a little bit to relocate some of the utilities in that area. We're also going to propose adding a raised median, a 3-foot in height, about 175 feet. That is gray in the middle of Tight Squeeze. And you have a call-out box to the right that says proposed raised median. This will reduce left turn lanes into Exxon in that next driveway where we have had crashes over the past 5 years, which will help reduce those crashes. And of course, you can still enter the Exxon by going straight through the intersection and turning right there. Number 3 on the scope of work is to relocate an existing traffic signal pole. Now, when we were walking through adding this additional turn lane to address the queue links and the time waiting there at Tight Squeeze, we wanted to make sure 2 tractor and trailers could actually make those turn movements. So if you look at this visual, you can see a call-out box to the left of Tight Squeeze that says dual WB67s. And you can actually see in the visual in red, if you look really close, 2 tractor and trailers sitting there. So if you follow those tractor and trailers through the intersection onto 29 North, you will see those red lines. Those red lines are the wheel movements. So what happens is when those tractor and trailers are turning left, they hit the median. So as a result of adding this lane, we will have to do a median revision. Now, if you look down there in the middle of the median, you'll see a call-out box that says median revision. So in the white, you'll see the new proposed median. So we're pulling back that median a little bit. Well, as a result of pulling that median back a little bit, we have to relocate the traffic signal pole that's sitting right there in that median. Now, if you will follow right across 29 North to the intersection, you will see proposed signal pole, and it's white, and you'll see the call-out box. So as a result of making sure 2 tractor and trailers make that left turn movement, we're going to revise that median, and then we're proposing to relocate that signal pole. So the next thing on the scope of work is number 4, and that's add a right turn lane on Fairview Road. So looks south on Fairview Road, and you can see we have added a right turn lane. That right turn lane gives you about 100 foot of storage that's not there now. And also, as part of putting that right turn lane in, you'll see a call out that shows that we're going to are proposing to put an island to separate the straight and left movements from that right turn movement. Also, as a result of adding that right turn lane, we're going to add curb and gutter on that side, which is not there now, to tie into the existing drainage on 29. Now, one of the things, the reason this is so busy is because I really wanted to be able for you all to visualize. If you look in that corner, right there where we're adding that right turn lane, and actually all over this map, you see lots of red and orange lines. There are multiple underground and above ground utilities that we have to deal with. There's telecommunications, there's power, there's gas, there's water, sewer, and the telecommunications, there's a host of companies, as you know. And so when we're moving that traffic pole over into that corner, and we're having to add that right turn lane, we've also got a little bit of cut in there that's encroaching upon that business in that corner. And if we have to move the overhead utilities, we could possibly have to acquire that business on that corner. We would work very hard to try not to do that, but we cannot promise that today. And then the last thing on this scope of work is to add transverse rumble strips on the north and southbound lanes of 29 to help reduce rear-end crashes, which, as Chris said earlier, that's probably going to be part of the things that we will do even if this proposal isn't accepted by the board. Now, so if you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer those. I know that was a lot, and the map is very busy. Does anyone have any questions?
Board members, any questions?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Appreciate Mandy walking through that. So this is an idea, a concept. You'll notice on the slide 10, just some potential next steps. If this is something that interests you, what we can do is, if you are interested, perhaps consider sending a letter to us to develop this alternative scope. Again, this is not an R-cut, and do that within the requirements of Smart Scale. What I would propose to you that could be a logical next step is that then VDOT conducts a citizens information meeting in order to get some public input. And then, depending on how that goes, then VDOT could then seek a Board of Supervisors resolution in support of this alternative scope, if that's something you'd like to do. And if not, if you're not interested in that, that is quite fine. We can go ahead and proceed with canceling. And I don't need an answer tonight. I'm not going to put any pressure on you like that. But I do want to make you aware. I feel responsible to make you aware of some options, and we wanted to share that. So again, I would say this: if you did decide to pursue this this potential solution, and then after the citizens information meeting, or after later a public hearing, you then came back and said you wanted to cancel. Again, I cannot predict how that will turn out. So far, we spent about $270,000. I would estimate getting ready with our consultant engineering firm to do a good citizens information meeting. That's probably another $50,000. So I just need to shoot square with you and let you know all those details. But I will follow your lead. I just feel responsible to give you some options. So that concludes the tight squeeze presentation I have tonight. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions.
We might have some questions, Mr. Winstead. Mr. Warren?
More of a statement than a question. This happens to be district that I serve. That most of the feedback I got was in relationship to businesses with their trucks having to go right, go down, cut across lanes and comes back. This option eliminates that. So, in adding a right-hand turn on both sides of the road and then changing it to a two-lane left turn just seems very logical to me. So I'd be inclined to encourage VDOT to proceed with a public hearing, and then we'll address it after your public hearing.
If I could, just to clarify, what we're proposing would be what we call a citizens information meeting. So it's not technically a public hearing.
Right.
For example, we won't have the property lines outlined for all the utility easements. We won't know whether or not we have to take the real estate business on the corner. We won't have those answers at the citizens information meeting. We will at a public hearing at a later date.
Right.
Just want to clarify. Thank you. Thank
So
you, Mr.
would you need from this board or have our county administrator send y'all a letter requesting this project? To
that
look
would,
at it, okay.
that would be
Is
all
that
I would
something
need from
We'd
you.
like to do, gentlemen?
Yeah, do we have to put it on the business meeting, Vaden?
Can we,
I think we just do it by consensus right now, so.
okay. All right.
If I could add one more thing.
Yes, sir.
If you decide to pursue this and you're firmly behind it, there is no issue of reimbursement whatsoever because we're building a project.
Right.
We're solving a problem here. So,
I think it's good for, I like this solution.
What's consensus?
Can we get a
I'm good
a
with it.
vote
I
on
like
it, to send a letter? Okay. Yeah.
it. So it's no longer,
Okay.
no right
Ms.
turn.
McCluskey, you need to take
No, it's
a
still
call,
right
a roll
turn
call
and a
on it?
left turn.
No.
See, they was eliminate,
It's a yes for me.
it was having a right turn.
Yep.
And then you have to go around turn.
All right, we got all
Ain't
yeses.
none of that now.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
So we just need to send you a letter, Mr. Terrell. Request.
Got it.
All right. Any more questions for Mr. Winstead?
No, sir, thank you too.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
If you want to talk 57 Bannister River, I can discuss
Oh,
that.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I
Yeah, oh,
defer
yeah.
your
Yeah,
schedule.
I just wanted
Okay.
about this project. Yes, sir.
I have another presentation, pardon me.
Thank you, sir. I'll take it, thanks, man. You just get everything get set up, it's all good.
Okay,
Here, bro. All right, good deal.
this one, I'll just preface as we're passing this out. This is one that's a work in progress. I want to clarify that.
Okay.
And let me just say something real quick. VDOT and Pennsylvania County are tied to the hip, always. And so I very much respect your role and very much value that. I want to just start off with, the bridge on 57 across the Bannister River, it is safe. I want to tell you that straight out. All of the bridges that are in our system that are open, they are safe. There are no weight restrictions for any vehicles across the 57 bridge across the Bannister River. There are no weight restrictions. We do have a signal which makes sure just one vehicle at a time, or I should say one direction at a time, and they go in sequence. That is in place, and it's been with us since 2019. And I'm sure you're very familiar with that. The signal is set up to be green for eastbound, and when a westbound approaches, that's when it'll turn red. And it's set up to be 53 seconds in duration. If you'll move to slide 3, the bridge is 91 years old. And for a 91-year-old, she's in pretty good shape. And that really is remarkable if you think about it. But at the same time, there are over 1,400 vehicles a day with 12% trucks. And I know it's important for also all the other vehicles, the school buses and the logging industry, the agriculture industry. Well, you'll remember in 2019, excuse me, we do an annual inspection on this bridge, and back then we determined that there was a need for a repair on the truss. We made the repair, and then we did a load rating assessment, which is just making sure we properly understand how much weight that 91-year-old bridge can hold. And at that time, we realized we had to post the bridge for 24 tons. If we were going to have two-way traffic, the only way that we could do that is we had to restrict the weight down to 24 tons. That was untenable to the sawmill in the area, the logging industry, the trucking industry, and really at that time, what we decided to do was figure something else out. What can we do? It does not qualify for funding to replace it because, believe it or not, we have bridges that are in worse shape than the Route 57 bridge over the Bannister River that actually carry more traffic. that we're going to have to address. And I say that even inside Pennsylvania County. So with regards to that, we did the best we could, and that was to get that weight restriction removed. But in doing so, we had to put the signals up, and we have to route traffic through it so it doesn't have too much traffic on it at the same time from a weight perspective. So again, we do follow through, and we do an inspection. We did an inspection in May of this year, and it's pretty much holding its own, about fair overall. In order to qualify for replacement funding, you got to drop below fair. You got to get in the poor category. You got to be, well, we have several structures like that in Pennsylvania County. And I'll give you an example. We currently have plans to replace the Route 40 Pig River Bridge. And that one carries about 3,400 vehicles a day and about 14% trucks. So the reason that we didn't put signals out there on Route 40, because honestly that's what we would have done, it's because of the topography is such that it's so rolling with all the lake traffic. We knew that if we, with that added, it's a higher volume roadway than Route 57. If we put signals out there like we did on 57, it would have been cheaper, and we could have done it, but then we knew we would have had backups. And we'd had backups at some point. Somebody's going to run smack dab into somebody else, and we're going to have a bad collision. So working with you all as far as priorities, again, we ended up being able to put up a temporary structure. And I want to tell you that Route 40 bridge does qualify for state of good repair because it's not in as good a shape as the 57 bridge over the Bannister River. And so we're going to replace that structure. It's currently being put together in a design-build package with other bridges across the state, and we anticipate having that finished and open on its permanent alignment sometime in the 2029 to 2030 time frame. So it's a while yet, but we have it funded, we have a plan. I also want to mention to you that the other structures across the county, and they're about, there's about 22% of all of our bridges in our district are in Pennsylvania County. So we have just under 2,000 district-wide. So I'll give you another example. I believe it's Route 668, Ricky Van Shelton Road is an example. That bridge over, I think it's Reed Creek, that carries about 6,900 vehicles a day. And it is in worse shape than the Route 57 Bannister River Bridge. And so we have plans. It's not funded yet. It does qualify for our replacement program, and we plan on having that, I hope, in our 6-year improvement program this next iteration. So I just wanted to clarify that for you. We also have some structures are a lot smaller, like on Cascade Road. We have a small structure out in that end of the county, carries about 1,000 vehicles a day. Because it's so much smaller, we're going to be able to replace that later this winter. And so it's a lot cheaper. So I just wanted to be straight up with you. We are juggling a lot of priorities and trying to do the best we can and hit the worst ones first. So again, the bridge is safe. There are no weight restrictions for any vehicles. We have the signals up, less than 1 minute wait. But here's the thing, we're going to continue to assess the condition, and we are exploring other options. I don't have anything I can commit to you different than what I've already presented at this time. But I'm not done, because we're in this together. That's going to be a VDOT bridge in perpetuity. And so I do hope to be able to come back to you, certainly if we see any change in the condition of that structure. We own it, we're accountable to you and working with you, but I just got to be honest with you, I don't have a easy button to push and to fix it. I hope I've been helpful in explaining that, and I will tell you, after our public hearing, and Mr. Fitzgerald was so diligent in speaking with me, and he came to Lynchburg at our public hearing, and I want to tell you, I very much appreciate that. We talked on the phone. The very next day, I went personally and walked all over the bridge and just made sure I experienced it myself. I didn't just drive it in my car. I got out and walked through the whole thing, touched it. We're in this together, but I gotta be honest with you, at this moment, I think our current solution is the best thing that I can be doing at the moment. So I want to let you know that. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Tucker.
thank you. Mr. Winstead, thank you so much for coming down, and also your team. I'm actually the supervisor for the Bannister District, which that bridge is in my footprint. I guess the question that I would have concerning that bridge would be, what prerequisites does VDOT take a look at in terms of prioritizing getting that bridge actually on the list?
Right. It's a great question, and I'm going to give you a quick thumbnail. If you'll notice on slide number 3, what you'll see is that third bullet. The bridge was inspected in May of this year. Fair overall condition. All the structural elements are sound. There is a little bit of section loss, and when we say that, what we mean, that steel truss, it had its original dimensions were certain widths that were designed. And over time, as it rusts, it's going to get smaller and it's going to shrink. We measure all of that. And so, in addition, we look for cracks and we look for any spalling of the concrete because the spans approaching the truss are concrete. If a bridge is going to move from fair to poor, what we're going to find is that we're going to see section loss that is so substantial that we need to reconsider, for example, the weight restriction, or we need to rate that bridge at a lower rating in our system. And then once we get to what's known as a structurally deficient bridge, that's when we would be in that mode of considering it to be prioritized. Because remember, we have over, in Lynchburg District, we have about 2,000 structures. Just because you qualify as a poor rating, that doesn't mean that you're the highest priority. You still have to get prioritized. Prioritization, it looks at things such as, what are your detour routes? And here, there are not good, readily available detour routes. You also take a look at your volume of traffic. How much traffic? What percent trucks? You take a look at where is it in relationship to hospitals and that type of thing. And we weight those things, and that's how we come up with a prioritization. The other thing, sir, we do is we do these annual inspections, and so it's a bit fluid. What might not be a priority today can quickly become a priority if something happens. And safety is our first priority. If we need to shut something down, we will. Just this past weekend, we received in the Lynchburg area over 5 inches of rain. I had water over 460 at Beaver Creek, just east of Mount Athos. Yep. So we had the entire road shut down, and we did not reopen that until our bridge engineers had their hands on that structure and make sure it's safe. So we go through a very thorough process. I can tell you, if you'd like a more briefing, I can do that one-on-one with you about that inspection process. I'm happy to do it.
Yes, sir, because I guess my next question was going to be, and I really don't want to get down in the weeds, but, on page 3 or slide 3, as you refer to it, when you state that the bridge is in fair overall condition.
Yes, sir.
My question would be, what matrix are you using, and would that be a relative term in your opinion?
No, sir. I understand where you're going with that. Every bridge that is on the National Highway System and every bridge that's on the National Bridge Inventory has a rigid nationwide inspection program requirement. In fact, we get audited by the federal government. We do audits ourselves. We have trained professionals, and it's a very, it is truly, it's engineering that what happens with each of these bridge inspections. So it is not a subjective type of analysis. Again, I can sit down with you and with my bridge engineer and walk you through what's involved. We can have the bridge report and we can walk through it with you.
I would love that.
Absolutely happy to do that.
And indulge me, please, one final question.
Sure, absolutely.
Based on my understanding, there is surplus revenue in Richmond. And my question would be, are there any emergency funds that would be available for transportation or for VDOT or for bridges in disrepair?
Well, and again, I appreciate the question. I will tell you that, again, as I mentioned earlier, VDOT and Pennsylvania County, we're tied to the hip. So I'll walk you back in time when Tropical Storm Michael came. We had incredible devastation that happened with that, and we replaced many, many bridges because they got wiped out, and it was a horrific thing to experience. So to answer your question in one perspective, if we have something that happens like that, absolutely, we're looking for ways to solve those problems. We funded with the federal government every one of those bridge solutions in the wake of something tragic like that. Now, that said, we have a very competent bridge maintenance program. I've mentioned a few bridges already in Pennsylvania County that are in worse shape than this one, and we are moving forward to have those replaced and funded. It is a prioritization effort. So as far as an emergency, we have a solution, and it's not an emergency situation. I don't think it's a good, final period at the end of the sentence, but we're not done yet. So I'd be happy to sit down with you again and talk through that inspection program.
Thank you, Mr. Winstead.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
I have one last thing. I'm just going to leave this with the county administrator, Mr. Terrell. I just want to mention you got some more projects with Round 5 Smart Scale, and quite simply, it's intersection conflict warning system at the intersection of 58 and Route 622, Cascade Road. That basically will flashlights when motorists come and approach the intersection. It helps with safety. You also receive funding for turn lanes at Route 29 and Spring Garden Road, right and left turn lanes. So that's good. We'll get those scoped, and I'll leave these with the county administrator. That's all I have. I feel I've overstayed my time. I apologize, but anything else I can do?
Any more questions? Mr. Dudley?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Winstead, for the presentation. You mentioned the bridge at Ricky Van Shelton Drive.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
That's about probably a half mile down the hill from my house.
Yes, sir.
Will there be a guardrail put up? It looks like there's some stakes that went up. And Jay probably knows more about this, and I could ask him. But I know that bridge needs to be replaced.
Right.
But on the side going up Jaybird Hill, coming
Okay.
from the Minute Market, it'll be on your right. Is there a guardrail that's going to go there because it's a right good little drop-off?
We can look at that, and I'll talk with Jay afterwards and see about that.
Okay.
I can tell you that we are still working on preliminary plans for that bridge replacement.
Yes, sir.
With so much traffic on it, it does not lend itself to like a traditional widening.
Mm-hmm.
What we probably are going to need to do is to have a new location bridge. So we keep that one in service until we can build a new one in parallel. But I'll talk with Jay, and we'll talk about that guardrail and get back to you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, because I have had some people ask me the question. Said why you brought it up. I just,
Sure.
talk about it. Thank
Happy
you so
to-
much.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ingram? Yes, sir.
Mr. Winstead, thank you so much for that update. Looks like we've been working on that intersection of Cascade for a long time, right there at 58, so thank you so much for what you all are doing. And tell me again, when is the projected time frame by which the flashing lights will be implemented?
That's a great question, Mr. Ingram. We haven't finished scoping that, so I
Yes,
don't have a date right now. What I'll do is work back through Jay and Lindsay and make sure you get an answer.
Yes, sir. Good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all so much.
Any more questions for Mr. Winstead? I got one question, Mr. Winstead. Is there anything that board can do as far as a letter, or anything to y'all to speed up any of these projects? Or change anything as far as the bridge or intersection?
I mean, I respect anything you send to me, absolutely. So you make those calls, but I think as far as I'm concerned, we're just continuing the dialogue. We're not done with the 57 Bannister River Bridge.
Okay.
Here's where we are today. We're not done. So that conversation's ongoing. I'll keep you updated as we learn more. And again, I will set up time for Mr. Tucker, and we'll sit down and talk more. I would need a letter from you, though, about back to tight squeeze if
Yes,
you're
sir.
heading in that direction.
Yeah, we'll send that. All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Very generous.
Thank you again, sir.
All right, moving to item 5B, 2024 reassessment update. Miss Patsy Budd. Welcome. How are you, Miss Budd?
I'm all right.
Good.
Good afternoon, Chairman Dalton, Vice Chairman Dudley, and board members. Today I come to you as the Reassessment Project Coordinator. I'm here to present Mr. Fred Pearson of Pearson's Appraisal Service. Mr. Pearson is co-owner of the company, which was contracted in April of 2022 to perform our reassessment. Since hitting the ground running in June of 22, Pearson's Appraisal Service has currently performed field visits for over 53,000 parcels and emphasized their commitment to seeing that Pittsylvania County's 2024 reassessment is completed as detailed in their timeline. Mr. Pearson's staff has provided excellent communication with the county during the project. They've been very quick to respond to any questions or concerns. We feel confident that this reassessment will continue in the manner it has thus far and will result in the county property values being properly recorded. Mr. Pearson is here with us today to provide the board with the latest update regarding our reassessment project.
Thank you, Miss Budd. Welcome, Mr. Pearson. How you doing, sir? Doing good.
We appreciate the opportunity to
Yes,
work
sir.
with the board and Pittsylvania County, and our main objective is to make sure everybody gets a fair and equitable assessment. The first thing, David, the next one, please. We have a completion schedule here. Everything appears to be on schedule. But right now, I'm going to go over briefly the sales analysis that we've done here. We still have some editing work to do, a little bit of appraisal work left to do. We're looking at getting notices in the mail on October the 16th, and we'll be holding hearings in October and November. We have everything set up here to have everything completed by December the 28th. That's when I'll sign the reassessment book. We're going to make sure I'll have plenty of staff here to make sure it's done in that time. But currently we have inspected buildings on 53,000 parcels. I've updated their new rates in Keystone. We completed the data entry on 36,000 parcels. You have 53,000 parcels altogether. I'm sure by the end of August, 1st of September, we'll have that completed. The sales analysis that I've done includes all 2022 sales and through February 2023. Probably in late August, first part of September, I will complete another sales study just on 2023 sales. And then I'll make adjustments depending on what those sales call for. I'm not looking for a large change, but it's good just to know that people know that, yes, we used 2022 and so far through February 2023, but we're going to put most of the weight on 2023 sales. Next one, David. Okay, this is a chart, and this was done by the Virginia Realtors Association. It's got every county. It's going to be real hard for you to read, but it shows the percent increase from 2017. That's when your last reassessment went into effect January 1st, 2018, and they used 2017 sales. And you see the red there, and that kind of shows you where Pittsylvania County is. Some have gone up more than Pennsylvania, some have gone up less. Next one, David. Pennsylvania County in 2017, and this is from the Virginia Realtors Association. And I've got a list of the average sale price of homes in Pennsylvania County, January through December. Average sale price in 2017 was $91,125. In 2022, I have the average sale price for every month through December 2022. The average sale price in 2022 was $172,129. And again, this is from the Virginia Realtors Association. The next slide for 2023 is January through May, and the average sale price in 2023 is $188,480. And so it shows an increase from 2022 to 2023 on the average sale price. We'll do another sales study based on just 2023 sales, and I'll give you another report on that. The sales study for 2022 and through February 2023, these are residential homes. I have it broken down by custom homes. They're going to get about a 24% increase and be about 100% of market. Good quality homes, about a 40% increase. They'll be at 101% of market. You had 2 custom home sales, 13 good quality sales. Average quality homes, 51% increase. You'll be at 96% of market. There's 119 sales. You have your economy homes. They're going to get the largest increase of about 69%. You'll be at 97% of market, had 25 sales. Manufactured homes, double wides, 50% increase, 99% of market, 22 sales. Overall, you're looking at a 50% increase on residential homes that are non-waterfront homes. Okay, David. We looked at land, less than 50 acres. We had 53 sales. You had 99% of market. I have not changed that. It's just from your previous assessment. Over 50 acres, you're at 97% of market. So most of your increase is going to be in homes. And again, we're going to look at it again based on 2023 sales only. The next one, Smith Mountain Lake. Waterfront homes, we had 10 of those. You're looking at a 58% increase. You'll be at 98% of market. We had 3 waterfront homes that sold for over $1 million. You're looking at a 74% increase. You'll be at 94% of market. Condos, Vista Point, you're looking at a 64% increase, 95% of market. Leesville Lake, I had no sales on vacant lot sales on Leesville Lake. Anybody that has any information on that would be very helpful. But you're looking at about a 36% increase. Vacant waterfront lots, it shows a 99% increase. Some of the previous assessments were low on some of these sales. On your waterfront lots, you're looking at about a 50% increase. Most of them will be a maximum of $600,000. Okay. Commercial sales, this is kind of give you an idea. Apartment complex, about 50% increase. We had 5 sales. Mobile home parks, 48% increase, 6 sales. Mini storage, 86% increase, 2 sales. Restaurants, about 18%. These are non-chain. Auto garages, about 19%. Chain retail, your fast food restaurants, Vance Auto Stores, General Dollars, is showing about a 72% increase. That's what your largest increase. Chain convenience stores, a 50% increase. Most of your older retail buildings that are non-chained, you're looking at maybe a 10% increase on those. Offices, 14%. Industrial buildings, your newer, nicer industrial buildings, you can expect a good increase. It's showing 44% here. If it's fair condition, you may be looking at a lot less increase on industrial buildings. Objective of hearings. The most important thing is to listen to the property owner. We appraise property. We do not make interior inspection. Usually no one knows more about that piece of property than the property owner. We're going to take time. We're going to listen to what they have to say. If we have something wrong, we're going to change it. We're going to get it right. If I've got a whole subdivision wrong, I will change it and get it right. I've done this work for over 40 years, and the longer I do it, the more I need to listen to the property owners. We want to explain to them how it's done. Most people, when you talk about increases, they're going to get probably pretty close to the same increase. If somebody's done more work to a house, it'll probably be a little bit more than another. Maybe a building was added, might make it more. But we'll explain all that to it and how it compares. We're going to have all the information, your new assessed values on the internet. They can check and see everything that we've done. They can compare them. They can look at their own. They can look at anybody's in the county. And we'll make adjustments as needed. Hearings expectation. Due to your large increase, you're going to get more appeals than probably you've ever gotten before. We'll have ample people here to make sure that people do not have to wait long, that they can come in. And there's going to be 3 ways that they can appeal. They can come in face-to-face for an appointment. Some older people may prefer that we just do a phone appointment, or somebody's on vacation. We'd be happy to do that. And they can email us information too, and all this information will be on the notice. When we finish our work, and I'll sign the book, I'm the person that set all the values. And I'm going to be there to hold hearings. I have other people to help with the hearings. But I'm the one that did this sales study. I'm just trying to reflect market value. When we finish, you're going to have a board of equalization. That's going to be for probably at least 5 property owners from here in the county. We'll be happy to work with them and give them some background on what we've done, how we did our work. People can appeal to them if they're not pleased with what we've done. We will be available to assist the Board of Equalization in any questions in any way that they need it. I would personally like to thank the county staff. They've been excellent to work with here. And I think everything's on schedule. It's just going to be a large increase. I can tell you, and it's just not happening here, it's everywhere when these reassessments go into. Like some are more and some are a little less. I'd be glad to answer any questions for you.
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Dudley, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are you all going to every location?
We're going to every improved property.
Every improved?
Yes, if it's got
property.
A house on it, we're going to it. And we'll look at properties that we can see from the road. Some back off the road might be difficult to get to.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Warren?
Just a couple of
And
comments.
we're doing new pictures too.
I'm sorry?
We're taking new photos too when we go out.
Okay.
Just a couple of comments. I'm really pleased to hear you say that you're going to listen to the citizens. I know that doesn't mean you're always going to
Well, it's
agree with them, but I'm glad you're going to listen to them.
Yeah.
I also hope that all of our staff, all of our elected officials will allow this process to work, not be out on Facebook criticizing the process, because I think sometimes that happens not with malice, but because we don't understand completely the process and we don't understand the unintended consequences. Losing the past assessment was very detrimental to this county budget for the past 2 years. Very detrimental. Had we not had ARPA funds year before last, and Ms. Vanderhyde can certainly verify this, we couldn't have balanced the budget.
That's right.
Had we not gone and got repayment from our enterprise fund, we couldn't have balanced the current budget. So when we take action and do things, we have to step back sometimes, count to not 10, but 100, and realize that when we say something or put it out on Facebook, which happened from some of our elected officials last time, people take notice, and it certainly creates attention. And it creates notice because they're elected, they're serving a body of folks. But I can tell you, we were not able to give the departments the amount of money we would like to have given them in the last 2 budget years because we didn't have the reassessment funds. And based on all the information that you've provided, that we've seen from those folks, that we've seen nationally, the old one was in a reasonable line. Maybe need to be fixed or tweaked some, but it was in a reasonable line. So departments went out without additional funding we would have liked to have given them. I know Scott sits back there and we joked that Hit of Love gotten all his wish list. We certainly would have liked to have given more to fire and rescue, but without that additional funding from the reassessment, we weren't able to do that. So I just challenge everyone, all staff members, all elected officials, to please be quiet. Let's work through the process, and let's explain when questioned that because you're hearing a number of 50% doesn't mean your net bill is going up 50%. The board will have the option to reduce the rate from 62 to whatever is necessary to bring it back in line. So I would ask our citizens to not panic when they first start getting it, to give the board time to evaluate and make their adjustments. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you making that statement.
Thank you.
And this time around, sir, when we do it, we're going to listen to property owners. You know, I think we've done a good job. But if we find out something's not right, we can change it. And I want to be the first. If I've done something wrong, I want to be the first person to change it. And, you know, and I can change things all the way up through to I signed that reassessment book. So we're going to, you know, it's working with the county, but it's working with the public too. A lot of people are not concerned now. They haven't got their notices. When they get their notices, they will be concerned. But I'm open. You know, if anybody wants to let me know any information about values, I am very open to it. Anyway, anybody can help me do my job better, I want to know it. So just keep those things in mind. I think you're going to have, in the end, a successful reassessment because we're going to listen to the taxpayers. We're going to make sure they're treated fair. If I've got something wrong on their house, I'm going to get it corrected. If they can show me their value is not correct, I'm going to make sure that's corrected. And if I have to do a whole subdivision, a whole area, I'll do whatever it takes.
Any more questions, Mr. Gares?
I just want to make a comment. I just want to thank your group for going after, I think the last reassessment we turned down found over 4,800 used structures out there, and you guys agreed to validate those structures so we could get them on the property tax rolls and accumulate taxes, and that helped out immensely.
Yes, sir.
This past budget was almost $1 million in tax revenues, and then that was one of the reasons we were able to balance the budget this year, and so I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions? No.
Sir.
Ms. Ings, go ahead.
Yes, I just had one question on the Board of Equalization. Do we know who those 5 property owners will be? Who assigns those?
The circuit court judge will appoint
Will
those.
appoint those, yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right.
I
Thank you for
appreciate
your
the
time.
opportunity to
Thank
work
you,
with
Mr.
Pennsylvania
Perry.
County. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, moving to item 6A, county health insurance premiums. Ms. Vanderheide, you up? All right, thank you. Thank you, dear.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kim don't like me, but thank you anyway.
Good afternoon. I am here to share some information about our insurance renewal that is getting ready to fastly approach, and I'll give you some dates, some information about the coming renewal period. Down. There we go. So just a few highlights. The Health Committee starts this process around mid-May. We met this year on May 15th to review our prior year claims. Those prior year claims is what starts our conversation about possible renewal rates. We also look at, do we want to put, the current insurance out to bid? Do they look comparable to what's out in the market? And so we utilize a consultant with McGriff that comes in, they review all that information, and they're the ones that present this information to us. So just so you all know, at that time, and it really was no change once we got figures for the month of June, our expected rates have increased on average by 14.52% from the prior year. What am I doing? It's not.
They don't act right this game.
Oh, hold on. I got it.
There we
A new doodah. So our goals for the new plan year, we, as staff, thought that there were some things that we needed to do to make some changes. We heard loud and clear that we needed to make a change in our family plan coverage because a lot of people we're either losing or they're not coming here because the family plan is just too unaffordable. So we took a hard look at surrounding localities to see what they look like, and we did some adjustment there. We also structured our rates, or wanted to continue to encourage a migration of employees from the normal or traditional insurance plan to the high deductible plan, which we were also able to do. And we are also increasing our health savings account contribution from $800 to $1,000 per employee per year. You should have rates that are attached to the document that I sent out. I actually sent that out to you in your Friday update, but this shows you what we did to those rates. So if you look at our county share, you can see what the monthly cost premium is compared to what the county is going to contribute toward that premium. So for instance, our Key Care 30 employee only is $842.78, and the county contributes or will contribute based on this proposed structure, $739.77. So the increase to the employer share is $79.22 per month. Employee cost monthly is $103 of the $842.78 premium, and they'll pay an additional $31.97. If you compare that to your high deductible plan with the health savings account, which has a $3,000 deductible, the employee-only premium went from $695.91, and you all subsidize $679.28 per month, which is an increase of $89.24 per month on the county side, but the employee will only see an increase of $3.33. I won't go through each of these tiers, but I would like to point out that your family coverage for the Key Care 30 plan, we did not allow any of that increase to go to the family plan, which means that whatever they paid this year is what they will continue to pay next year, even though that increase should have been around 15%. But employee family for the high deductible plan, we were able to manage to deduct $100 from what employees currently pay this year. So it's just over $1,000 per month if the employee chooses the family plan. But bear in mind too, if they go to that high deductible plan, they will also be receiving $200 more than they did this year in their health savings account. So they'll actually get a total of $1,000 a year to help with health care costs. Went the wrong way. So our fiscal impacts, what is this going to cost us? The estimated cost based on this structure is approximately $300,000 for this upcoming plan year. That money would be taken out of carryover funds because we've had such good years in the past. I have around $400,000 that we will dump into the current year. We budget each year $100,000 for our coverage, but just bear in mind that whoever migrates to your high deductible plan, I'll have to provide $1,000 for those folks. We want that to happen. It takes education, but the high deductible plan for most people is a much more affordable way to go. You take much more control of your health care, and you're able to keep that money in that health savings account forever. It's not like a flexible spending account. You're able to, when it gets to a certain threshold, you're able to invest that money and to make more money. As long as you spend that money on health care costs, and that doesn't matter if it's just covering you, anybody that is covered on your taxes, you're able to use that health savings account for. And even when you retire, that money goes with you, and you never pay a dime of tax on that money. So that's an important thing to learn. We do have Beth Maiden with McGriff, who is our health care insurance consultant. She will be here during open enrollment. I encourage each of you to come if you have the health care, just to learn a little bit more about it and the benefits of going to the high deductible plan. So our next steps is tonight I'll actually need approval for you all to accept the new proposed premium breakdown and the increased HSA contribution from $800 to $1,000 per employee per month. Our open enrollment will begin on August 1st, and so people can sign up for changes that they would like to make to their health care. September 15th is when those new deductions will begin. September 20th, thereabouts, or hopefully, if I can get it together, you all may approve those carryover funds at your August meeting. Hopefully, I'll have all my information together, but it could be as late as September. The carryover funds will be approved, so that'll be your next approval, and then our plan year does start on October the 1st. So with that, I'll entertain any questions. I didn't want to bombard you tonight. If you want more information, if you haven't been on the board like this thing is new, we can explain how our health insurance is funded. We are with the school system, so we all have the same insurance. So we're all under that same umbrella. It's Pittsylvania County Schools, Pittsylvania County, and the town of Gretna that's in our group. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
And just I just make a point that if everybody sits down and does the math, if you have 2 years where you don't reach your deductibles, you save enough in the premiums that going forward, you will have the $3,000, because the delta is really only $2,000 to cover.
And a lot of times it's fear. People don't want to move to something they don't know, and they're fearful, if I move, something's going to happen tomorrow. It could happen, but chances are it probably won't happen, and you'll have some money to offset that cost. The last thing I would share is I did put a comparison in this little packet that also went out in the Friday update that shows the differences. One of the things I would like to add, that if you have individual coverage, your deductible, of course, is $1,000 with the Key Care 30, which means if you go to the doctor, you're going to pay $30. That $30 does not go toward that $1,000 deductible. You're still going to have to meet the $1,000 deductible. But your maximum out-of-pocket cost for that traditional plan is $11,000 for the Key Care 30 plan, but only $6,000 for the high deductible plan. So look at that difference there. If you had a catastrophic something happen to you, that's a lot. That's a big difference. So,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
One other thing to point out, Kim, is if you look at the maximum out-of-pocket deductible, it's actually higher on the Key Care 30. So if you're having to pay 20% of your inpatient facilities up until you spend $6,000, under the HSA, you'd be out at 4.
right.
So
That's exactly right. So in-network, I was quoting those in the out-of-network, but your in-network is up at the top. So, yeah, maximum out-of-pocket for individual is $6,000 in-network and only 4 with the HSA. So, there are some things that you need to weigh, but it is an individual decision, and you have to look at what's going on in your case, a case-by-case situation. So, but I would like everybody to be open-minded to kind of think and look at different ways that they could help save the county money
Hey,
and
Kim,
themselves.
just to be clear, so Kayla can get this on on the business meeting, what's the action you need from the board so we can put it on consent?
So it's up there. They will need to accept the new proposed premium breakdown and the increased HSA contribution from $800 to $1,000. She's already got it written up.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, any more questions from the board? Thank you, Ms. Van Dyne.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
All right, moving on to item 7, business meeting, discussion items. Do we have any, Mr. Hunt?
No, sir.
All right. Moving on to item 8, can you read us into closed session, sir?
Yes, sir. We have a single closed session tonight. It's consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Legal authority, Virginia Code Section 2.2, 3711A8. Subject matter, Southside Housing Development. Purpose, consultation with legal counsel / legal advice and discussion regarding the same.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Ingham. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tucker. Thank you, sir. Any discussions? If not, we're ready to vote. All right. Closed session. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we will now certify closed session from work session.
All right.
Be it resolved that at the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors work session on July 18th, 2023, the board hereby certifies by recorded vote that to the best of each board member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. If any board member believes that there was a departure from the requirements of the Act, he shall so state prior to the vote indicating the substance of the departure. The statement shall be recorded in the board's minutes. Ms. Eanes,
Yes.
Mr. Ingram,
Yes.
Mr. Scarce,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. Warren,
Yes.
Mr. Dudley,
Yes.
Mr. Dalton.
Yes.
Chairman, the work session, closed session is certified, and now it's appropriate to adjourn the work session.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Meeting's adjourned.